Let's go.
We're back. What is up, everybody, and welcome into the DNVR Nuggets pregame lounge. We bite,
baby.
Let's do this. It's been too long. Man, that was a long offseason.
We're back.
Boys. I have no idea how we made it through quarantine that time, how we've made it through any offseasons, because 1 week, jonesing.
These are the times when I realize my life is like truly pathetic.
Your personality is really just built around basketball.
Yeah, just my whole life revolves around the NBA, and it's like ridiculous, but it is what it is.
It is.
My mom called me today to see how I'm doing, and I was like, well, the Nuggets are rolling heading into the
Your answer is just what the Nuggets are. I love it.
So true.
Guys, this show, as always, is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download it onto your phone right now, because in just a couple minutes, superstar Dev Johnson is going to be giving us can't-miss winners.
Superstar Johnson.
Superstar Johnson over here. You got us?
I got you.
I'm going to need some money, man. I'm going to need some money. I got Brendan Vogt over here, who dressed very nice for this for some reason.
I've turned a new leaf. You know this.
No,
I'm a drip man now. Thanks for having me on, guys.
I got the man with the wind in his hair over here, Harrison.
I'm going to give the title of Best Dressed Tonight to Vote.
All right.
I'm gonna give away the title. It's on Vote tonight.
Thanks, brother.
Dev, how do you feel about that?
I just don't understand how I wasn't even in the running.
You didn't even look over.
Could have been in the running.
Now that I
nice
got
little
a good look.
cardigan there.
Now that I got a good look.
There we go. It's still Vote.
All right, thanks.
So, guys, we're going to talk a little bit because Memphis is a young team. They're a young and up-and-comer. I think Memphis is a sneaky great team. So we're going to talk about great up-and-coming teams of the Western Conference. We're going to look into the crystal ball 3 years and predict who's going to be in the Western Conference Finals, alongside the Nuggets, of course, in 2024. We're also going to talk about Campazzo's back. Dozier's back. Now there's a question about, do you play both of them? It might be easier tonight based on who's available, but it is going to be a real question, I think, for the rest of the season about which way you go with those two players. But first, let's find out what's happening in this game. Harrison, what have we learned in the pregame media availability and about who's available?
The biggest news from the pregame availability, well, first I'll say Jermichael Green, we thought might play tonight. He's out with a stomach virus, stomach illness. What was the exact phrasing? Stomach illness.
Yeah, I don't know if they would call it a virus. That would be a little technical.
Yeah.
Tough time.
So
Touchy
maybe
time.
some bad barbecue in Memphis. I don't know.
It's too bad because, he comes from Memphis. So, this is like a return home of sorts.
Oh.
Yeah, San Antonio, the Memphis is where he really played.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Memphis where he really
Grizzlies,
played.
Yeah,
the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah.
I thought you meant like he was born in Memphis.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Jermichael Green is out. Paul Millsap is in. But Michael Malone says in the pregame that he's sticking with the same starting lineup. That went 5-1 to close the first half of the season. Jamal Murray, Monte Morris, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic. So for the time being, Michael Porter Jr. is going to stay at the 4. Also, Michael Malone said that, speaking with Paul Millsap recently, he's fine with staying at the 4. Now, Malone did say he's fine staying at the 4 tonight. He used the word tonight in his quote. So, I don't know. Does that mean that this is going to be the starting lineup long term? Is this just going to be the starting lineup until Millsap gets up to speed? Probably too early to say, but I think it's encouraging that they're going to stick with these same starters tonight.
And I just like that Malone took it there right away. Like, there was almost, I thought, maybe some self-awareness with some of the narratives and stuff that are flying around. You're right. He didn't necessarily say this is the plan for the season, and Paul's down with that. But he was quick to mention how okay Millsap was coming off the bench. And what was the quote? We're lucky to have a vet like Paul Millsap.
And Millsap, by the way, had media availability yesterday and also reiterated that same thing about, like, where I'm at in my career now, I don't care if I come off the bench or not. So,
yeah.
Maybe the table's being set for that, or to your point, maybe this is more of just it's his first game back. We'll keep riding this, whatever. Thank you, Kale.
Thank you so much, Kale.
It was really bothering me, man. That was bugging me.
The chat was probably getting on him.
The chat was getting restless. So I don't know. Do we know who the starters are for Memphis?
I haven't seen it definitively, but they just played 2 nights ago. Memphis did.
Yeah.
Like, they have played.
Because they have to make up games.
Right. They've played, had an off day, had a rest day, and then are about to play their second game out of the break. Of course, this is Nuggets' first game out of the break. Memphis just started Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, our boy Desmond Bane, Is he our boy? I don't know. Maybe
He is my
Desmond
boy.
Bane.
I was thinking, we briefly liked him in the draft. I mean, I guess that's our boy.
I mean,
Why not?
Desmond
Why not?
Bane.
If Kenrich Williams is my boy, then Desmond Bane can be my boy.
Thanks.
too.
Yeah.
Desmond Bane went for 20 points, 5-8 from 3 the other night against the Wizards, and Memphis blew out Washington the other night.
Wind, I'll cut you off just because I just got the starters from a fantasy account here. So it looks like Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, and Jonas Valanciunas.
Small lineup.
So that's the 5 who started against the Wizards 2 nights ago. Jonas
Jokic needs to
Valanciunas, 29 points, 20 rebounds against the Wizards 2 nights ago. 9 offensive rebounds.
They spread you out, man. I mean, that's the guard heavy. Dylan Brooks at the 3 is we're talking. That's like Dallas Mavericks style, really tiny lineup. So Dylan Brooks also Nuggets killer, I believe, a little bit. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah,
he
does
would
seem
be.
like one at least.
All right, in the pregame, anything noteworthy from Malone?
The other thing that I thought was notable, just remember when Jamal Murray had that comment a few games ago about, we're having fun again. We're just playing free.
Oh, I love this. Great. Yep.
Malone said that he totally agreed with that assessment from Jamal. And he was just like, we're having fun. We're playing free. We're playing together. We're playing for one another. So having fun, good. Not having fun, bad.
We figured it out.
Yeah, boom. We're done. Yeah. Let's
job's
start the
done.
playoffs.
Well, let's move it on, guys, to keep the show moving because I think the Memphis Grizzlies have a very solid young core, even though that young core is basically 2 pieces. You know, Bane is coming in. We'll see what he is. You know, they got some guys, Dylan Brooks. I don't know if Dylan Brooks is even like a long-term piece there.
Tillman, they like Tillman a lot.
Xavier Tillman, yeah, but those guys are more periphery players. Their cornerstone piece is Jaren Jackson Jr., fantastic, built for the modern era. And then, of course, you get Ja Morant, who I think is... You know, next year I'm going to be calling him the breakout star, like all-star potential player. Certainly competing with Murray for, as one of like the up-and-coming Western Conference guards. So I kind of think that they're in the running. If we look out 3 years in advance, I think that they're going to be in the conversation for Western Conference finalists. Do you feel that same way, Dev, or do you feel like maybe you're not quite as high on them?
So I'm not huge on Ja Morant himself.
Whoa!
Like, that's just a player that whenever I actually watch him, I don't see what everyone else sees. But then I go to the stats and he had a crazy good game, or he has these crazy highlights.
Yeah.
But I'm not personally a Ja Morant guy, and I've been trying to come over to it and see more of it. But I'm not big on it. And then their big guy, Jackson, he's always hurt. Always banged up. We haven't seen much of him. But when we do see him, he's terrific. He's great. But it's just 2 guys. So I'm not as big on Memphis as I am on other teams.
Can I ask you to expound a little bit on the Ja take? I mean, is it the lack of the outside shot? Is it defense? I mean, what's holding you back?
I think it's more so just like, I think that the hype around him is so high, and then I don't see the same things that everyone else sees. I see that he's athletic, but we take away from like Russell Westbrook from his athleticism. He's not an excellent passer. He's an okay passer, but I think Russ is a better passer. I don't see him as a great defender. I don't know what he does that really stands out besides explosion. But he's in the league, and everyone else is explosive. Yeah. He's not the most explosive in any, like, he's not the most explosive at his position. He's not the best passer.
He might be the most explosive at his position, to be honest.
I don't see it.
I mean, he's like De'Aaron Fox, he shot out of a cannon, man. That guy.
Yeah, he gives you like Russell Westbrook when he was young on the Thunder vibes.
He's skinnier. Like. I mean, Westbrook maybe had more power. He was a little bit more.
The lack of a load up, just like explode from any angle off any foot,
and then create a finisher or what have you. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Ja Morant, you had to pick one.
I like Shai.
So Shai, you take over. De'Aaron Fox and
De'Aaron Fox. He has.
Wow.
He's the fastest at his position.
So you are really low on Ja Morant.
He separates himself from something like an intangible.
He's going for 50 tonight now. Like, it's just like just to be eyeball, just so that we have to all look at Dev.
I can't wait for Dev's lock of the night when it's the Ja Morant over.
No, Ja Morant's going to go off to get back at Dev, and Jokic is going to go for 40 to get back at you for the take the other day.
Yeah, well, hey, man, my bad takes, if they lead to Jokic going for 40, I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that they are in the short list of teams that are like, again, they have to. It's so hard when you're Memphis. It's the same as Denver. You can have 2 elite cornerstone pieces, but like you make one bad draft, and it's like, well, now it's all screwed. So they have some work ahead of them, but I am going to take them in my 5 teams to go to the Western Conference. I'll give you guys. So are they on your list? Top 5 teams most likely to be in the Western Conference Finals?
If we're opening it up to 5, I would definitely have them in there. Or I mean, they're in the conversation at the very least, right?
Okay.
I think they have to be.
Yeah. What, Dev? So you don't have them in your 5?
I do not have them in my 5.
Harrison, do you have them in your 5?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
I think I know the teams. I think I have the rest of the teams we're going to agree on. So I got the Nuggets.
Right.
Now, this one's a little tricky because I do believe that it is right after the earliest Jokic could get out.
Sure.
Don't want to speak any of this evil into the world, but let's just pretend this team's staying together to 2024 as close to an apex. Like, at that point, Michael Porter Jr. is in the league for 6 years now, or 5 years. You know, he is basically as experienced as Jamal Murray is now. Jamal Murray's in his absolute peak. Jokic in his absolute peak. I'm taking the Nuggets as my number 1 team in 2024 at this moment.
The only team that I would think about taking over the Nuggets is honestly the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, we don't even, like, who do they have?
Right.
I don't know.
It could be a completely different
Superstar X
core
superstar
than what they
Y.
have right now. LeBron
And
might be retired
Superstar
by
Z,
then.
veteran, just slightly past his prime, but on a minimum.
Yeah. I mean, it could be Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Karl Towns. You know,
Totally could be,
So
yeah.
they're like kind of at the same level as the Nuggets, honestly. For me.
So lame. Lakers, are they in your top 5?
As constructed, no, but to Wynn's point, sure.
I'm just saying, if somebody gunned to your head, and you better get it right.
Yeah, at this point, I think the Lakers are back, unfortunately.
They're back.
Yeah.
Lakers and yours?
Yes, it doesn't matter. They're always going to have a star. There'll always be a
Well, they'll have like
destination.
1 or 2 years. There's always like, all right, we had to, and then they'll all talk about how patient they were or something like,
I don't know.
we had to go 2 years.
Looking back on this, I cannot believe the Lakers were that bad for that 2-3 year period. I mean, you really have to be an incompetent front office to be that bad in LA with the Lakers. Like, you really got to try to be that bad.
Three consecutive number 2 picks, and yeah, they.
I don't know how that how
but
they
I
were
think
that
the
bad.
thing that about the Lakers is they have Anthony Davis and LeBron locked in for a while, so of course they're going to be there. But if they're not, that's 2 stars off of your payroll. You could pay whoever else you want at that time, and who's not going to want to take over after LeBron James and Anthony Davis in LA. So,
all right, we could quit talking about the Lakers. It's making me sick.
this is
Too much
terrible
The
stuff.
number 3 team I have is the Dallas Mavericks, and as currently constructed, I think they have 1 player that will be
Yeah, I
on
was
that
gonna
roster
say, yep.
in
Yeah.
2024. But that player is so good that and Dallas is committed. They have a committed owner. You know, they've spent money to try to build. I think within 3 years' time, that team will have a legitimate title contender around Luka. So they're my number 3.
Totally agree. I have them in there too.
I think they're the mystery team in this discussion because there's a lot of assumptions that you have to sort of make, right? Like, they'll nail these off seasons as they come off of some of this money. Would Porzingis be off the books by 2024?
I don't think by 2024.
He's either going to be off or they might
they'll trade him
by
at
then.
that
he's
point.
not going to
yeah.
be a part
They
of
might
that
trade him by 2 weeks from now.
But, like, look, man, like, big market Brendan, they got to find that second and third guy. Like, they just have
Dude, but
Luka.
here's the thing. If I told you, like, I don't think Dallas is making the Western Conference Finals this year, but they can. One good trade at the trade deadline, Luka goes supernova in the playoffs because he's that talented. And we're talking about this 3-4 years from now. Luka should be the MVP of the league or competing for it. I don't know that you have to nail it to get to
Sure.
the Western Conference. To get further, yes, but to get to the Western Conference Finals, maybe not. I don't know.
Just get a good
I lo-
run, seeding lines up,
Yeah.
good year, yeah.
The next team I have on my list, the Phoenix Suns, they would be higher based on talent. I'm betting against the Phoenix Suns organization, which is why I don't have them higher, because Devin Booker, are we sure he's going to be there in 2024? DeAndre Ayton, are we sure that he's going to be there in 2024? This or that. Like Mikal Bridges, they have so many pieces that I love that in theory 4 years from now, yeah, they're going to 3-4 years from now, they'll still be there. Their history, their track record says they'll screw
Yeah,
up.
but if you look at the team and how they're constructed, that's a team that I even feel is better than the Mavericks just for their
It is.
young core. They
Yeah.
have a young core that's really, really good.
Cam Johnson's like the 4th best young player, and he's
that's
good.
great. Like, and they seem to be developing players. Like, and they're also able to play because the Suns are not that good. You don't have to put them into like any type of title contention. They're just learning how to play in the NBA, and they're gonna get better. So if you keep it how it is, in 3 to 4 years, they're gonna be really good in one of the top teams.
Well, they also have a competent front office now, and a really stable head coach. They were one of the worst, just like management front offices in the league for a
You're
while.
only as stable though as your owner. I mean, because one thing that can happen, let's say that Phoenix gets into the playoffs as a 3 seed this year, and they match up against Dallas, and Dallas beats them. You know, those are the types of things that a stable front office says, trust the process. We brought Chris Paul in. An unstable one says, it was all a sham. Get this guy out of here, and this guy, he's not. Monty Williams, not a playoff coach. We're ready for
I mean, it could also be the other side of the coin to that is if like Phoenix doesn't go 8-0 in the bubble last year, do they trade for Chris Paul?
Yeah, for real, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, yeah, and like, did they cash in their chips too early? Like, what's the time? I don't think. I mean, you're a Suns fan, you take this 10 out of 10 times, but just long term, figuring out their timelines, how it all lines up. It's hard to imagine everyone there peaking at the same time, still in Phoenix.
The fifth one for me was Grizzlies. We already talked about them, but I think the team that everybody has is the Pelicans. And the Pelicans, to me, are the Phoenix Suns on steroids. If you told me to handicap how many of their current big three, which would be, in my opinion, is Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, in reverse order, but those three. If you told me to handicap how many of those guys are on the roster in 2024, I would set the line at 0.5. That's how I would set the line. Because Lonzo, I think, is gone in 2 weeks. Brandon Ingram, I would bet against him being there long-term, 3-4 years. Zion's the only one. And then even with Zion, he's pretty big star.
The clock's already ticking.
The clock's already ticking. Like, he might. I would not be surprised if he forced his way out before 2024. So that's the only reason I don't have him in there.
I really like that team just because they have Zion. And people are going to want to play around Zion, and they're fast-paced, and they're fun and super entertaining. But they're all so young. They don't really have a lot of vets on the team or around them. And it seems like the front office is deciding to go young.
Yeah.
So like there's not a rebuilding team anymore. They have their star, and they're going to do everything they can to keep him around. They're going to throw everything at him. So he'll be around. It's just if everyone else around him will. Brandon Ingram,
I don't know that he'll be around, though. I'm telling you right now.
Also,
is anybody going to want to go to New Orleans, though, also?
It's tough, man.
Can I also just counter with, like, they're bad. They're a bad basketball team.
I know a lot of people I see in the comments saying Oklahoma City. Right now they have Shea. They don't really have any other pieces. I mean, Lou Dort, I guess. But if you talked about the team that makes it to the Western Conference Finals, what you're really talking about is draft picks. And if the Nuggets have shown anything, it's one, first of all, you don't know what pick you're going to get. You could have the best odds at these picks, but whatever. But it's also like draft picks just take time. Like Michael Porter is we're 3 years into having him, and it's still like, I don't know. We'll see how it breaks.
Sure.
Jamal Murray, it took a couple years where he was good but not great. So Oklahoma City, if we were doing this 2026, I would say they're in. But for me, 2024 seems just a little early. I think they'll be good. But I don't know they'll be Western Conference Finals. Yeah. Any other teams that we skipped over that belong in this? Maybe the Clippers?
The two other teams I thought about were the Clippers, who, if you're looking at 2022, they're probably in the mix. But the Clippers could just combust any day, I feel like. And, Kawhi and Paul George aren't under contract for that long. The other team I thought about is Utah. And Rudy Gobert, he'll be, on the other side of 30, I think, in 3 years. Donovan Mitchell's still young. I just trust the organization that the Utah Jazz. I trust that front office to have them in the mix.
Are the Spurs a dark horse here? I had them as, a bottom or second to bottom tier coming into the season.
Pop's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Pop's not going to be there in 2024. I mean, maybe he is, but I'm going to say he's not. I don't know.
It depends on how they handle the transition with DeRozan and Aldridge here, too. But they like that young core.
Minnesota, once they get Wiseman for Towns, that my proposed worst trade ever, but it's going to happen. No, it won't happen. All right, let's move on, guys, because we have to talk a little Nuggets here. And Campazzo's back, Dozier's back. And now herein lies a question. Which one deserves minutes in the rotation? I'm not surprised that Michael Malone is sticking with Monte Morris as Gary Harris's replacement. I think when Gary Harris gets back, he will once again step into the starting lineup. That's a whole can of worms for another day, because I do think Jamal Murray is better with another point guard, and Gary Harris is not that. But throwing that aside, Monte's in the starting lineup. Now you go to a bench unit. Tonight, Will Barton small forward. You don't have Gary Harris, so maybe you just play both of them and it's no big deal. But when the team's fully healthy, I'll start with you. Actually, I'll start over here, Dev. Who do you want more in a rotation, Campazzo or Dozier?
So I think the battle is defense versus comfort, because Facu, putting him in the lineup makes everyone else around him comfortable, because Jamal Murray likes to play around or just play off of the ball, and it's a ball handler and a facilitator. But also Jokic really, really likes to play with Facu because of the high IQ and just knowing where to be. And then he's going to feed him every single time. Facu knows to find his guys. So that's the player that I want to put into that lineup. But with PJ Dozier in a playoff atmosphere, that's who you have to go with, because he's going to be able to give you defensive matchups and assignments, and he's not going to be attacked the entire time like they're going to do. And there's no way you could hide Facu and Michael Porter Jr. and then not have a big rim protector at the rim as well. So that's just not something that I would want into the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Facu.
I think if you had to win a game tonight, or not tonight, we're all here. It's Facu.
Why not tonight?
I think Facu has actually not gotten enough credit this year for having a winning impact, being a trustworthy rotation player. There's just what's the ceiling on this, and what can it be for us when it matters most? From the Nuggets' perspective, and that's PJ Dozier's length is, I think, more enticing than maybe what's a redundant skill set in Facu alongside Monte.
In a perfect world, you would find time for both of them. I really feel like both of them can contribute to winning.
Is Gary Harris the guy you would get out?
Or Will Barton.
But Will Barton right now is just a straight small forward. I mean,
right, but that's a role Dozier can play.
That's true.
I
That's
feel
true.
like. If I had to choose, I'd pick Dozier. I just think he's more malleable. He can play more roles than Facu can. If you're looking for an offensive lineup, Facu's probably the answer.
Yeah.
His splits alongside Jamal Murray are ridiculous. The Nuggets are a great offensive team with him alongside Murray and just him on the floor in general. But Dozier just seems like a guy I would trust more in the playoffs. And that being said, the scariest thing about Dozier is that he's got a little too much of a score-first mentality right now. And Facu is totally anti that.
Right.
So
Facu doesn't make those types of mistakes.
Right.
He doesn't miss defensive assignments. He doesn't step out of the lines when he's not supposed to. I mean,
Yeah.
his limitations are purely physical and what this or that. But
I would just feel more comfortable with Dozier. You know, it's a good argument. You can make the case for both. Just it comes down to preference, maybe.
So I too would say Dozier on this, but you brought up the numbers and I want to run them by everybody. So Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic on the court with Dozier. They have a -1 net rating in 102 minutes. Not a big sample size, but it's meaningful that they've been outscored by 50 points in 100 minutes. A 109 offensive rating, a 110 defensive rating, which means about average of both numbers, right in the middle. If you go to the Murray-Jokic-Facu lineups, 100 minutes, same, almost identical minutes, a 135.8 offensive rating, which would be
crazy.
so much better than the greatest offense of all time, significantly better, and then a 111.3 defense rating, which is the same as the Dozier lineup, and a 24.5 net. Now, again, 100 minutes, but that means in 100 minutes together, Facu, Jokic, Murray have outscored each opponents by 55 points. That's insane.
That's
It's
wild.
That's insane. Now, that's, again, a really small sample size, this or that. There's a lot of caveats to put on that, but that is very counter to what I would have expected if you just asked me.
And I think one layer of that is that in a regular season environment, Campazzo is a far better defender than a lot of people think. I mean, you want to focus on the height. I think that's with good reason, especially as you enter a playoff series. But for what it's worth, alongside other talented guys in a regular season environment, this dude takes 0 possessions off.
Yeah,
so from a
true.
team defense
So
perspective,
true.
he's a winning impact
You gotta
every
love
time.
it.
Yeah, and when I spoke on defense versus comfort, it's more so I think Facu is a great defender. I think that he's a willing defender, but as team defense, it's going to be hard in a playoff atmosphere
I agree
when
with
it's slowed down and you could actually put him on an ISO and try to attack him. It's a lot different. So in the regular season, I'm definitely going to go with Facu. In a playoff series, I would have to go with Dozier because he's going to be able to give you minutes and size and a lot of things that Facu can't.
I agree.
So that's the question of playing alongside Jokic and Murray. But really, these guys most likely will be playing off the bench, and that's a whole different, set of numbers and this or that. So there's that to kind of account for as well. Are these guys both bench guys? And if so, who do you want off the bench, this or that? It's a tough question. What I hope happens is that over the next several weeks, and really all the way up into the playoffs, I hope we get a healthy dose of Dozier and Facu.
Sure.
Because I hope that going into the playoffs, you have a good idea of this is what works, this is what doesn't. I like this guys for these moments or what have you. So it'll be interesting. Tonight, I think it's going to take center stage because Gary's out. Both are going to play a lot of minutes. I can't wait to see. Who would you rather have guard Ja Morant tonight? It's an interesting one. They have different types of defense.
Facu, really.
Yep, just because I just think he would be a pest. And he could match his physicality. They're neither Ja Morant's not a physical player. He's
De'Aaron
just
Fox
trying
kind
to
of burned Facu
And
though. That's the one thing I think
I'm worried
about.
about Facu, and is one of the negatives about him is the fouls.
Yeah,
I'd be
point.
worried about him fouling Ja Morant, where you just want to force Ja into taking the three.
right.
And Facu gets right up in your grill.
Oh yeah,
Just daring you to blow
for
by.
sure.
All right, let's move on to my favorite part of the show here. Dev, we're going to make some bets.
Fire
Everybody
it up.
open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated
Let's see what
sportsbook
I got
app.
for you
I haven't
guys.
opened this up for a couple days, guy. I just couldn't bring myself to bet on anything other than
it's been
basketball.
good. Like, my bank account loves it. It's just
Ooh, my
the line
balance
is at
is looking
2.5 right now. Denver is favored in that. I do like the Nuggets in this game.
Should we take the money line?
I would take the money line.
All right,
I would
Dev.
take the money
If you
line.
say
on
so,
that.
If
I'm
you
in.
say so, man. I just listen to
I
what
do
you
think
tell
that
me.
the Nuggets, this is a game that they get up for, and it's right off of the break. Memphis is coming off of a shorter break than everyone else. They're not as fresh and spry as them.
Do you think, though, that them already playing a game,
Yes,
do you think that helped Memphis tonight?
I do.
I don't.
You don't?
No, I just think that I think mentally you're just not there the same as the team that's refreshed
All right.
and ready to go. Also, the Nuggets know what they are right now. They're going into they went into a good stretch to end it. Now they're in the zone. They're going to pick it up where they left off.
I will say, Denver starting lineup until it gets beat. I'm going to keep saying that's. I mean, they are so good right now. Super chat. What do we get?
Danny K, he feels comfortable sending us $10 in the super chat because of all the money he's going to make tonight from betting.
Oh, look at that. That's right. My guy,
right.
Danny K.
And he's
here.
giving us some picks. Jokic
right.
triple-double, Murray top score,
I
Nuggets
love it.
big win.
Make- Jokic
Make
triple-double.
your money on the app so you can super chat us with that money.
Oh, I'm so in.
The post-game
I'm
show.
taking your Jokic triple-double. I'm throwing a unit on it because you know what? You give Jokic 4 perimeter guys, the game is so easy to him. So I'm taking it.
Yeah.
I'm taking that too. I like it.
So as far as locks. It's always so
Oh,
great.
he's got a real lock. I can feel it.
Look at the look
So
on his face.
I have 2 locks.
Okay.
My first lock is Jokic over 8.5 assists. That is a lock. It's gonna hit. Valanciunas is just an aggressive, big man that's pushing you around, and I think that Jokic should just find a way to get him away from the rim. So I think that the assist is gonna be over.
'Kay.
My other lock is not gonna be happy for you guys, but it's Valanciunas over points, rebounds, and assists 30.5.
This is a classic.
This is a
30.5.
classic
I
Dev
always
right
have to
here.
go
First,
one of the other
right
two.
out of the break, bro. You know?
You have to. You can't. I'm here to make you guys money. Jokic will get a double-double. Eric knows that. D-Line knows. It's a double-double and a win for sure. And
I'm
then
taking
also
it. I'm taking it
Valanciunas.
just for solidarity.
Yeah, it's
but
probably-
if it
it's
doesn't
probably a good
happen,
bet.
We know
you
who to blame.
We know who to blame, and I don't like betting on Valanciunas, so we'll see what happens here. Points, though. What about points tonight? Who do you think scores a lot of points? I've got one for you that I kind of like. Kind of like Will Barton tonight, 11.5.
Ooh, that's
that is a
low.
great one. Memphis is that's a homecoming game for him, right?
Yeah, definitely. Memphis Tiger.
And I think you can guess maybe 6-7 field goal attempts in the first quarter for Barton tonight.
Yeah, I think he takes a lot of shots,
Yeah.
and he, before the break, he was a player that talked about, even though they were winning, he talked about his own game and wanting to do better and be more part of the rotation and find a role. I think that he addressed that. I don't think he really took any time off during this small break. I think he's going to come back ready.
I do too. I think he'll be the guy that's most sort of locked in tonight. Whether that means he gets 12 points on 12 shots, 15 shots, 20 shots, I don't know, but he's going to be locked in, and I
He can
think
get
he'll
to
get
12.
over 11.5.
You can get to 12.
What else do we like here? Anybody
Are there
else?
no Michael Porter Jr. props?
They never
What is
want to.
going
They
on
never
here?
want a Michael Porter, man. They don't want.
They're scared.
They are scared
They're
of Michael
scared
Porter.
of the Michael Porter Jr.
They're
props.
100%
Well, how do you
afraid
start
of
that?
him.
You sit down, you're like, all right, he could be the worst player on the floor, or he could go for 35
It's hard.
All right,
Yeah,
on
it's
4
like a
dribbles.
losing bet. I don't know which
So
one.
you like
yeah.
you like Valanciunas. Do you like him? Is there any chance he gets top scorer tonight?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Jokic top scorer tonight?
Chance, yeah.
There is a high chance
Yeah.
that it is. But
He's
I'm going
plus
to go with
100.
Jamal Murray as the top scorer tonight.
Okay.
Do you think Memphis spends a significant part of tonight sending help Jokic's way?
No. I think that they really do believe in Valanciunas' defense for whatever reason. I really do think that. So, no.
Idiots.
All right, then I'm not going to touch the top scorer.
Kyle
No,
Anderson
no.
over 1.5 threes plus money.
I don't know if I like that
He
one,
made
man.
1 3 the other night. 1 of 4.
the
there's
last one
one.
for me, guys, is how you feeling about Jamal Murray coming out of the break? 23.5.
Well, high score. Should we do high score for him? Is that a good...
I think I'm kind of
he's
leaning
plus
that way.
200.
I'm kind of leaning that way.
Throw a unit on it, you win 2 units.
Just for the numbers, portion as far as making a lot more money. But I do think he gets his 23.
So you'd rather take the 23.
I would rather take the 23. That's not my locks. You heard my locks, but that's what I would do.
I wonder if Jamal's just going to come out and try to shut down Ja Morant tonight.
Oh, to prove he's the defensive player of the year?
My money's on no.
I'm going to say
Really?
no.
I don't know, man. I feel like Jamal coming out of the break wants to kind of make a little statement here.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging with us. It's great to be back here. It's great to be back here with you guys. Don't forget, hit that like button. And don't forget, guys, as soon as the game's over, there's no lounge like the Friday night lounge. If it's a winner's
Really
lounge, it's going to be pouring snow on us.
Oh, yeah.
The bar's starting to fill up. It's going to be fun. You're not going to want to miss it. So we'll see you guys all then. Have fun. Have fun like I'm a dad. You like, have fun,
Be safe
kids.
out there.
Like,
Have
fun, guys.